Carbonite cold open question of the week. Calvin. Hello?
Yes.
Calvin, with 3-ish weeks left in 2024, we've seen an entire year of Conquest characters hit the tables. What has been your Conquest character of the year?
Oh, do I get to count Dre or no?
Dre. Who the hell's Dre?
Darkside Ray.
Dre. Oh, that's what they're calling her? Is that the official term we're using?
That's what I'm calling?
I've been calling her Ray DSV. I don't know. Dre. Okay.
I've also accepted My Chemical Romance. I think that's one's on the table as well.
That's pretty fun. Everybody always goes, well, how about Hot Topic Ray? I'm like, they already tried that with Basti.
That's true, we did. Wow, that's an old one.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Darkside Ray, however you want to call her.
Yeah,
that's my pick.
Okay. Well, throwing Darkside Ray out because she's not. I don't know if she's going to hit this year or not. If you have to pick one of the others, who's it going to be?
Queen Amidala.
Queen Amidala. That was the one I did not expect. Why Queen?
I'm a huge Phantom Menace fan, always have been, and to see her kind of fill out her own team, I was a little disappointed we didn't get Panaka to kind of bolster things up, but overall, it's dates back to the Phantom Menace for me.
Yeah, well, Panaka may come later on. We were just sort of talking before stream. Anything is possible at this point.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, we'll discuss it a little bit more with Darkside Ray. We've got a lot to discuss, actually. We've got some high-value Lightspeed bundles being dropped just recently, changes to the episodes, and the new Hera has arrived, and she's broken. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Stick around, and let's start the show.
Ignite your passion and embrace the glow of the Holotables.
This is it.
Broadcasting live just beyond the Dune Sea, we join the heartthrob of the Outer Rim, Urzatron.
Hello, what have we here?
Welcome to Love on the Holotables, an absolutely unremarkable yet ridiculous Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast.
It's a trap.
It's time to lock those S-foils in a chill position and head on down to the big Holotable for all the latest action.
This is Red 5, I'm going in.
Well, hooty hoo, and a big hello from me to you. My name is Zers, and I'd like to welcome you all back to Love on the Holotables. And today we're joined by a very special guest. He is the first-time repeat guest host for Love on the Holotables. Some say he's awesome. He says he's efficient. However you like it, he is back with us today. Calvin, my friend, how are you?
I am doing well. Yes, we are planning a rebrand now to Calvin Efficient.
Calvin Efficient. I'm sure your crew over there would tell you you're efficient on stream. I mean, you're all about the efficiency, yeah?
You think so? Some days they're better than others, but we try our best.
I am not about efficiency. I'm about paying money just to get stuff done. And
there you go.
That is a perfect segue for our first topic here. A massive amount of Lightspeed bundles hitting right before end of year. We'll go through them all. But Calvin, what do you think about this? There's a lot of conversation about them sort of normalizing the end game and getting a lot of players sort of caught up in the end game. Do you buy into that, or is this just CG just doing whatever they can to meet end of year financials?
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. For me, Lightspeed bundles in general have essentially, and this is going to sound really stupid, but have become CG's way to monetize the free-to-play. Like, they realize there's a certain amount of players out there who will not buy anything unless it is going to have that ridiculously high value, like SLKRs or Jabas or whoever's. This is kind of their solution to that.
Yeah, getting some money out of these guys that never spend money.
Correct.
Because you got probably, I don't know what the numbers would be. I mean, if I would guess, I would say 50% of the players probably spend, and there's probably a huge chunk of players that don't spend anything. And if you can get that other side to just dip in just a little bit, and then it sort of softens it for later on if they ever want to get them to spend again. I mean, it's like, oh, I've already spent once. I'm no longer have my free-to-play pledge or whatever. Like, it makes it a little bit easier.
Well, I think it just kind of sets a standard that they're willing to spend if the value is X. And it does kind of work out. We're seeing a little bit of slight bit of upset with Jabba and really Afra too. Well, maybe not so much Afra, but Jabba is very new. Like Jabba came out a little over 2 years ago now. It's different from Rey and SLKR who came out last year at the beginning of this year, who had been out for, several years on top of that. So
Yeah.
they're getting really close with what I believe they're defining as their timeline.
So about 2 years out, you can expect a hot bundle on something. I was waiting for the Executor bundle, and that hasn't come. And Executor was before Jabba. Executor was when I was still playing the game 3 years ago. So I'm actually farming that up the hard way. But yeah, it's interesting the prices on some of this stuff too. So we got the first one up on my screen here. You won't be able to see it, but I'm sure you've looked at all this stuff already.
I have them memorized by now.
Yeah, Dr. Afra. We're getting the 4 characters for Dr. Afra's requirements. $47.49 is the sticker price on this. This one sort of shocked me. I think this is not the best value out of all of them. The Jabba one, in my mind, should have been this price, and the other, I feel like you had to swap the prices of those two. But what do you think on this Dr. Afra one?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't come in first place. It's I would probably put it third overall. It's still good. I think what they were trying to do is follow the Starkiller model. It's the exact same price for pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The one nice thing about it though, that I'm not even sure if CG factored this in. The community certainly didn't before it happened, but you actually get a good amount of good Zetas from it too. Like BT1 as well as I believe one of Hondo's comes in it, and that's pretty significant because you were going to want those Zetas anyways.
Yeah, someone from my community, Cynthia, actually pointed that out. He said, you want to buy this bundle now because they could update it to not include the Zetas. And so, yeah, it was brought to my attention. This is the first one I bought, so I definitely bought this one. Yeah, it's interesting that those are like level 7 Zeta or Zetas, right? So that's why they were included. Is that
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the characters for Lightspeed bundles have always come with level 7 abilities, which typically moves out Omegas as well as Zetas. But if the character was new enough that they had an Omicron, which kind of goes back to my point earlier saying these packs have a lot of genuinely new characters in them, that it's going to have that.
Yeah. All right. Great stuff. So did you buy any of these packs as we're going? Did you buy this one?
I did not know. I have pretty much all of the characters for the most part. I think they might get me more relic levels, but as far as the characters go, I already have them all.
All right. This one was probably the hottest one. The Jabba's Entourage Lightspeed Bundle. This is not the whole crew. I think there's a little bit of requirements on the outside of this stuff. Maybe a few relic levels here and there, but this is a large crew. Chrysanthemum Bausch, Skiff Lando, is that Boba, Greedo, Gamu, and Mob Enforcer. It seemed like the most popular one. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it is the most popular one, and ultimately, I don't even think it's down to a pure value perspective. If you're comparing things like Kyrotech and Signal Data, Tusken's actually, I think, beat it out in that regard. But it's what you're getting. Like with these characters, you're removing one of the largest obstacles in order to get Jabba, like Boosh. Boosh, Chrysanthemum, as well as Skiff Lando are very new characters. So not only do you need relic levels on them, but on top of that, you are going to need a bunch of Kyrotech to be able to get them there. And yeah, it's not a full package, but like most of the Galactic Legends, it's almost impossible to have them all in one pack because we have legendaries like 3PO and Jedi Knight Luke that are also required for the characters. And you, just by the nature of them being legendaries, they can't be put in there.
Yeah,
that being said,
that would be not yet.
Not yet. But here's the thing, though. If you've bought certain other Lightspeed bundles throughout the year, you've actually probably already amassed all of those characters. Like, I think the Jedi Master Luke bundle had enough overlap with Jedi Knight Luke. Aura was in the Chewbacca pack. Like, his requirement, even Jawa and they're in the other packs this time. So you can maybe not get a day one Jabba, but you can get like pretty close if you bought enough Lightspeed bundles.
Boba here, he's in multiple packs. I think he was in like the Finalizer Radis pack or something like that. Okay. And this one was $23.74. The sheer volume of just goodness in this pack with all these new characters and, how many people out there are going to have like Greedo at like Relic 5? Like this has so many obscure characters that people are probably, I mean, some of these guys are not easy or not hard farms or not hard gearing, like Mob Enforcer. She's pretty easy, but $23 for all this is just crazy good value.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one up here is the Smuggler's Lightspeed Bundle. Now, there's two different pictures for this one, but this one has Dash, Kira, Vanshu, and Nest. I got to tell you, this one's $18.99. It also includes Outrider. That's in a separate picture. This one, we were doing some old school counters because we had an easy matchup on like Wednesday of last week for GAC. I got to run my Nest out there, and Nest was just slapping people around. I was just thinking, man, this is like when I had so much fun with the game, and it sort of made me want to relic up my Nest, and then here she was on a silver platter for me for $18.99. What do you think about this one?
It definitely doesn't have quite the shine that, say, Jabba or the Tuscans, or I would even argue even Afra does. But one of the bigger things that I think people are reason why they're going to get it is because ships are still not accelerated, and Outrider actually is a Jabba requirement. So if you're just wanting to like pull the Band-Aid off and you've already sunk in $25 or whatever it is for Jabba, you're probably pretty incentivized to do it. And then the characters in there, I mean, Dash and Nest are obviously very good for where they're at. And I believe Kira has a special mission somewhere. So again, not like the highest value of all time, but I can definitely see why people would do it.
Vanshu's one of those niche boutique characters with his revive stuff with prepared. That's always sort of weird and fun, and you can do some cool theory crafting with. Kira, not very many scoundrel leads, but plenty of scoundrels, so maybe she could have a niche opportunity to lead somewhere along the line. I don't know. This one was super interesting, and like, as you said, the amount of time to farm a ship from the ground up is pain. Like,
it's a pain.
Yeah, it's like $20 just to not have to worry about it. Super easy.
Exactly.
All right, next one up here is the Tuscan Lightspeed Bundle, $14.24 for this one. This is all 5 at Relic 5. What do you think on this one?
I think this one is the hidden gem. So obviously Jabba is the amazing one. Afra, expensive but good. The Tuscan one, so number one, from a pure value standpoint of like the amount of relic materials and Kyrotic you get, it's off the charts. It's actually comparatively, it's actually better value than Jabba. And one of the other things that I don't think a lot of people realize is a lot of players out there right now do not have Inquisitorius at all. And the reason why that's relevant is because the Tuscans and the Inquisitorius share an assault battle. So if you don't have Tuscans or Inquisitorius, every single time that event comes around, you're getting a nice solid 0 of nothing. And now if you have Tuscans at R5, sure, you probably can't beat the last couple tiers, which I need to actually research that a little more. But getting all the other stuff is actually really nice. So, and that and their PvP viability, especially towards like the beginner mid game with all the turn meter teams like CLS, Phoenix, Palpatine, they just completely demolish those squads.
Yeah, I end up using my Tuscans quite frequently. I do love them, and I know exactly that assault battle you're talking about. That's super clutch having those guys. Quick side note here. Special shout out to a couple of people here. Jabba's Entourage Lightspeed Bundle was gifted to me by Charger from my guild, and then also the Tuscan Bundle. Esynthe gifted me that one. So thank you guys so much. I did want to shout you out. All right, the next one up here is the Jawa Lightspeed Bundle. This is actually the one I didn't get. I got them all but this one. I didn't need any of these guys because I had my Jawas already relicked up. So did you end up getting this one?
There you go.
It's $10.
I did not.
Yeah.
I have all my Jawas at Relic 1 just because I had already brought them up for the GCs. So overall, there just wasn't a whole lot of value in there as well.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if it was you I talked with about this, but they need something. They need to give these guys something else to do. They just don't really have a place right now, and maybe it's a raid, maybe it's an Omicron for TW or Grand Arena. I don't know. Some way of recovering banners. They just need to do something with Jawas.
Yeah, they do have a TW. They actually do have a TW Omicron that does that. They're just the board, especially for the end game for TW, is just way too small. Like, I mean, they'd have to be beating something really, really high caliber.
Yeah.
Really the only reason to get Jawas right now, or at least from an efficiency standpoint, is for the Galactic Challenges. Like, that's pretty much it. So I would agree with you. I'd like for them to have another place, considering the crate raid isn't really doing much for them right now.
Yeah, okay. And the last one here is the Princess Lightspeed Bundle, which, did you see the graphic on this with like Leia and Kanisa standing next to each other? Like the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, it is.
The Princess Lightspeed Bundle, and they're only going up to R5 here, and I think the requirement for her event it's higher than R5. Yeah.
For Nisa, it's R7. For Leia, it's R3. So they kind of met in the middle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, $9.49 for this one. I didn't have either one, so I actually bought this one as well. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely land in the camp. If you didn't have either one, then it's a pretty good buy, just again because of the overall price. And then Nisa's a newer character, so you're out a ton of Kyrotech. R5 is pretty high, and you really have to take Nisa up to that at least to be able to go after Leia. I think that one's going to be bad for most people, just because the amount of people that already have Princess Leia herself built up, which is maybe not half the value, but close to it, just kind of completely gone. So again, none of these are genuinely bad, but it's probably on the lower list because of that.
Yeah, this is where I feel like as an adult, I've just like lost all sense of reality because I just like sort of equate things to like, oh, that's like almost like that's a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And that's how I sort of look at things. We sort of start rationalizing things like that. I don't know if that's a good place to be because it's just like this is gonna make my life easier, but I'll just skip cup of coffee one day.
As long as you're like able to like follow through, then I think that's a fantastic way to live. It's when you start saying it over and over again, and then you never make any type of application that you're gonna find yourself in a lot of trouble.
Life advice here on Love on the Holotables, everybody. All right, good stuff. So that's all the Lightspeed bundles. We've got our next bit of news here, which is all the changes coming to the episodes. So episode 2 going to be starting soon. They've increased the episode currency cap. It was at 30,000 to 100,000. This is very good. Especially if you bought the pass. Did you buy the pass?
I did not, but I 100% agree. It was very good, and I would actually go as far to say it was stupid.
It was stupid.
Be that low. To be that low beforehand. If you do have the pass, you get 120K or 124K over the process of the month. And if you're capped at 30, that pretty much means you have to be buying things almost every single day.
Yeah, and there's
not go over the cap. Like that's dumb.
There was things like, I mean, I need a lot of stuff. I have a mid-game account. I need everything. But there's stuff I didn't even need here that I'm like, and then that was sort of my complaint. Well, if you're going to cap us, you have to give us the compelling things to buy in the store, and the store can't be refreshing every week. And that was just such a nuisance to try and manage. And then you start seeing it creep up on, 27,000. Better do something.
Yeah, so I think obviously I understand why they want to have the cap. They want to have the cap so that people don't just like sit on it because they think a character is going to come, and then all the player base complains, hey, why don't I have any gear? And well, it's because you have a bajillion of this currency stack that you were never supposed to. But yeah, 30 was too low. It was the same thing that I felt with the data cache for Datacrons. It was at 30K originally too, and that was just too low. Okay. You get all these people who have only they don't even have max Datacrons. They have like 20 Datacrons, and they're hitting the cap on the dusting. So yeah, that was necessary.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's a good change. Next one up here is the milestones for the episode track. They've decreased the values required to hit each milestone. And then after 4, then it goes back to like 5,000, everything after that. Just easier, just ways of just sort of engaging with the community and just sort of getting people on to engage with the content. Any comments here?
I think one of the big reasons they did it is because the currency wasn't flowing enough in the very beginning. Because one of the issues is if you look at the track on the episode track, the amount of episode currency that you get, it increases as things go. So if you don't immediately get to speed through those first couple rounds with your episode points, you're not going to actually rack up even like the bare minimum amount of currency to be able to get your Omicrons for that first week. So they didn't give us more currency. They just sped up the process a little bit in the beginning so that overlap doesn't happen. So that wasn't 100% necessary because we can correct that problem by just sitting on a little bit of currency from the previous one every single time. Yeah. But it's nice. It's nice that they did.
Yeah, just kind of forward thinking there. Agree. The next one here we have is they looked at the schedule for sort of the recurring episode quests, and a lot of that stuff didn't align. Now, I got bit by this a couple of times where I would get in the morning and do my thing, and then the quest would unlock midday, and it's like, oh, I already did my galactic challenge. So I would miss out on the opportunity to close that quest out. And the same thing for, like, they had one for, like, Conquest, getting, like, key cards or whatever. They're just aligned all that stuff to go live at the time that those events are actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just a kind of a classic oversight. They lined up the days and then just didn't line up the hour.
The hours.
Like,
Yep.
Just didn't take it all the way like they should have.
And they also have a note here, the recent change increasing of episode point reward from 300 to 350 for each daily quest will also persist. So that was a thing that already went in. They bumped the value up to some of that stuff, and that'll continue into episode 2. Shipments, adjustments they have here. Looks like they've added one additional shipment containing 2 Omicron materials. That is huge. That is
astronomically huge. Like I don't think a lot of the player base realize how big of a deal that is.
If they want to sell battle passes and they want to make sure their people are maximizing, that's a good way of doing it. If you just tighten the belt a little bit and make people want those extra Amis. I mean, I don't know what maybe they've done some calculations to just, maybe they think that'll drive more revenue that way, but yeah, that's huge. I'm excited for that, and it's the best thing in the store. It's where you're buying your Omicron, so it has to happen.
Yeah, it's the largest Omicron economy change we've seen, I think, since they've come out. Because essentially, if you do everything right, it's going to equal 8 more a month. Which I think when they came out with the Legends store, that was like 2 more a month. When they came out with the Leia event, I think that was 2 more a month. I think Conquest was like 2 more a month. They've all been like really kind of incrementally dinky, if you will. And this is the first time, and this is even like free to play viable. Like even if you're like 100% free to play, you can still get enough currency to buy all 3 every single time.
Yeah,
so it's
that's huge.
It's really good.
There's the one in shipments. Do you buy that one? Is it in weekly shipments? Is that where it's in? There's that Omicron. It's like for Mark III, I want to say, like guild currency or something. Do you ever buy that one out of there?
Yeah, I buy it. I don't buy it every single time it's in there, but for my Mark III, not Mark III, Get 3 currency, it all goes to micro attenuators. The issue with that is my guild rather, we get so much of that currency that I will eventually cap out on it. So whenever I'm getting too high, I just go and buy an Omicron.
There you go. Big shout out to Port. I'm an ex-Port man, and Calvin's in Port, right?
I am in Port, yes.
Yes. Okay. And then you mentioned micro attenuators, 16 more, aka the mod reroll materials in shipments as well. The existing this is sort of drove me nuts. This is what I complained about when the store first came out. Cryotech was at 2 pieces for whatever they were charging. They have moved that to 10, and that feels great, man. It's almost like they've listened to the complaints, because like it's just like what it just felt like such a waste of time. Like really, this store refreshes once a week, and you're gonna sell me 2, so 10 feels so much better.
Yeah, well, I think what the store was trying to do was just really trying to replace the old system. And it actually, like, if you ran the numbers, it actually did do that. Like, if you get the 2 Chirotech every single time they come out, or rather the 4, because there were 2 shipments of them, it totals 16 in the end, which you add that to the 24 that were already in, like, the boxes. It gets you to the 40 number that existed in Galactic Challenges before. But the thing is, that doesn't change the fact that buying 2 Chirotech in a shipment feels bad. Like
it does.
That's what it comes down to. Like I understand the numbers were there, but it made people feel bad, and that actually is relevant.
Yeah, I'm like, well, this doesn't even feel good, but I need these, so I guess I'll spend it because I got capped on my currency, 30K, so got to spend it. So yeah, that's in, and then they've got some shard shuffling happening in the store as well. They're saying it's for future characters required in future episodes. So we're obviously heading into Bad Batch season at the beginning of next year. So they have all the Bad Batch characters in here, along with Fulcrum, Saw, Night Sister Zombie, and Ezra, Bridger OG. Galactic Challenge adjustments. This is another feels good, man, because this is something I was complaining about. I enjoyed GCs. The Complete the Battle feat has returned to Galactic Challenges, and they've added another feat. Basically, it's 5 now instead of 4. They apologize to players about it. This was just like stupid. Like I was so mad at this because I enjoyed the puzzle aspect of those challenges, and they took it away. And then it's good to see that they listened and they're putting back in at least one of these.
Yeah, That one was kind of hard for me because I saw the numbers and I was like, oh, so all the currency that we were essentially getting before just got moved into daily, so it's fine. But yeah, there were a lot of people that just kind of felt like they weren't really able to do anything at all. And even if like the numbers were still there, it's what you said at the very beginning. It's a feels bad moment.
Yep.
Like you feel like you're getting less even though you aren't.
Okay, last thing here is the galactic, what are these? Galactic Legend Journey Mythic events. All these different events, they're all simmable now. Smuggler's Run, Galactic Bounties 1 and 2, Endor Escalation, Ghost of Dathomir, Defense of Dathomir, Contraband Cargo. All this stuff is simmable now. I've seen some of the simmable stuff hit. I'm farming Finalizer and Radis right now. That's all simmable as well. That's on the daily. That's just such a great change.
Yeah,
but,
that's nice.
So yeah, any comments on this? I mean, this is all just quality of life stuff.
No, I mean it's kind of what we knew was already coming. It took them a minute to get there, and that's fine. But yeah, it's good.
Okay. Next bit of news here. Last bit of news, I should say, is General Syndulla hitting the holotables. Arnold put a video out on this. Crazy stuff happening with perfect defense not deploying right within the squad. Weird issues with Ezra's interaction with Hera's lead, where his anti-kill tech wasn't working, backup plan failing, all from Hera's General Syndulla's leadership. Did you see any of this stuff? Did you notice any of this?
No, I haven't interacted at all with the new characters. Like I've seen the posts and I've seen people talk about it on Discord. But yeah, it just seems like a ton of. I know the one thing that I was more privy to was the fact that when they did all this stuff, they also broke like a dozen of the other dispels that had nothing to do with Hera in game. But yeah, that was about as much. That's about the only interaction I had with it.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of comes back to like, I know they wanted to give us a temporary leadership with Hera for people that didn't get Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano immediately, and that was the whole point of their defense, or the whole reasoning why she got a lead like this. I just sort of go back to like, you can't be, one, as a business, you can't be releasing stuff that's broken and people are paying money for it. Regardless if you fix it or how fast you fix it, it should be fixed upon release. I mean, I think that's a reasonable standard to hold a company to. I don't understand why they make kits just ridiculously like wordy. The amount of abilities and the amount of text and the amount of like conditional things happening. Is that extra really benefiting anybody? Or is it just making the game incredibly hard to balance because you have to consider all these things when you're programming a new kit and all the different interactions that take place? I get that power creep is a thing in games like this. And, I come from playing Magic the Gathering, and Magic, it's like a creatures that existed way back in the day versus creatures that exist now. Like power creep is an amazing thing, right? But I just think that you're going to always set yourself up for issues like this when the kits are so convoluted and so complicated.
I think they've I think it's just a reality of being a 9-year-old game. Like they started out fairly simple, they moved their way up, and then pretty much not everything, but a lot of the things that we're seeing in kits that end up just being like 6 paragraphs long is them trying to work around the kit that came before it. Right. And the problem is there's been 150 kits that came before it. So the problem really just kind of keeps compounding on itself, and I don't really know a way out of it.
Well, I mean, and their aggressive schedule of marquees now. They're going to be cranking out characters.
Yep.
I hope this doesn't become a trend for them. Okay.
I don't know how much they're actually going to stick to it because they've already acknowledged that there is a quote unquote holiday episode tier where they're just not going to do characters. And then like even the first real era that we're going to be in, the Bad Batch one, they're already having 5 instead of 6. So I'm not really sure how strict the 6 marquees every single time is going to actually happen.
Well, they said that Darkside Ray is going to be the holiday one, right? But then what's going to be the holiday? Is that just for like the holiday season, or is that supposed to be expected?
Oh yeah, we don't get any new marquees until January.
Yeah,
like we're on break right now.
All right. Yeah, it's really interesting how they're going to keep pace with this. Ambitious. All right. Conquest and GAC recap. Let's start with Conquest. I have a massive win. I was able to red crate. My first time red crating since coming back. There's a couple things when we last talked a little over a month ago when you came on the show. I told you that I was praying that SLKR got released in a bundle, a Lightspeed bundle, and he sure did. I got the entire First Order faction. I already had Red Trooper, Relic 7, but I didn't have anybody else, and that was such a massive win for my account. And then getting that, I'm about to start farming Kylo, Supreme Leader, and now it's like Rey's announced, and I'm just like sitting so pretty, and I got the red crate, so very happy. Did you get your red crate?
I did, yeah. I did. So you're going to be in the exact same situation I was with Ben Solo. Like, so Ben came out, and I think I unlocked Rey like the month prior to Ben being like unlockable. So that's really good timing.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very close between like when I get them functional. I'm finishing up Emperor Palpatine right now. He's my last requirement, and then I'm on to SLKR. But he's like, I got like 4 relic levels left, and I'm done.
Conquest is good.
Yeah, I actually feel like I this is probably like my 5th or 6th conquest since I've been back, and I was like sort of just taking it at my own speed, getting my feet wet, not stressing out too much. It was like Luthen and then Ezra, and then here we are. And I felt like, I don't get really why people complain about this, why people say it's such a grind. And then you don't realize it until you get your first red crate, like what it really takes. Because like you're at the end, you're just like doing things and you're organizing your teams and you're having to check it multiple times a day. It is really a grind. People call it grind quest. I feel like I understand why they call it that now. Oh,
and this one, like, I think this is the easiest conquest we might have ever had since ever. Like, as far as feats go, like the real, like the grind quest was when they would have like 40 feats that only one team could do, and you literally had to like plan out your entire 2 weeks to make sure that you did 3 to 4 attempts of that team every single day. Like, that was awful. Like, that sucked. Like this one was fantastic. Like, I loved this conquest. Like, it was pretty balanced. It did still require a pretty large chunk of the new characters, but like it was like 10 battles, 20 battles, 15 battles. Like, it wasn't anything atrocious.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had just done Shin and Balin, so I had all that stuff. So Great Mothers and Elsbeth and Shin and Merrick and Balin. So all that dark side unaligned force user stuff, all the Great Mother stuff, and all the Shin Hati stuff. It was perfect for me. So excited for that. GAC returning with 5s this week. How did your week go? Any notable takeaways you want to share?
Yeah, no, this has been a fun swing back into 5s. I found out my very first round that Aphra with Dengarkron on defense is an absolute menace. We didn't even lose to it, but we dropped 12 banners, and that, even after one shot on his board, we ended up losing because of that. So I stole that team, put it on defense, and it helped me win my my second round. So that was probably my big highlight. And then I've only done my attacks for this 3rd round, so I'm not quite sure what happened. I did one shot him, but I didn't do so really very high in banners.
I have not heard of the Dengar Aphra team. This is just Dengar Kron with Aphra.
Yeah, pretty much, because Aphra doesn't have any of her synergy broken by having dark side scoundrels on the team, and Dengar fits the definition. So basically, you just whatever thing was supposed to like knock Aphra out immediately, now it's to deal with Dengar spamming his mines. Yeah, his mines everywhere all the time, and tenacity down, decreasing turn meter, generally just getting in the way. Maybe calling BT1 to assist. Like, it's fun.
Yeah, I can't wait till I get to the point with Datacrons where I'm starting to do stuff like that and just get these weird like niche things happening. That sounds like really the best part of the system. Okay, I had a great, interesting matchup on Friday night. We actually had our guy that we were going against turn up and stream, and he was live attacking at the same time. So big shout out to
that's awesome.
Roger. Yeah, he was attacking with us. Didn't end up losing that night, but you know what? Whenever I lose like that and it's a compelling match all the way to the end, you don't feel too bad about it because people were entertained, and it was you had a good opponent with a good head on his shoulders and good sport.
No, those are really fun. Like when you have someone attacking at the same time you're going, and you kind of can go back and forth, or like not even like necessarily a true back and forth, but like 2 hits there, 2 hits here, 3 hits there. It makes it feel almost like I don't watch sports ball, but it almost makes it feel kind of like a football game.
Yeah, it does.
Like,
it does.
Where you can like actively cheer for either side, because I don't know if this happened to you, but a lot of times when my opponent's there, he'll like tell his guildmates, and
They're
the vast
watching.
majority of the time,
Yeah.
they're pretty cool and stuff like that.
Yeah, everybody's cool. Everybody likes that attention, that spotlight, and I love to facilitate stuff like that. And it's just great because it's a fun experience because he's here, he attacked, and you see everybody like seeing the score, and then everybody starts watching the score, and then he starts chatting and talking about what's going on his side of the thing, and it's great. I love it.
It's like the best thing about streaming GAC, I think.
Yeah,
or can be.
Yep. Okay. All right. So that is GAC and Conquest. We're on to week 2 of 5s. I like having 5s back. I don't hate 3s as much as everybody else, but having 5s back and finally, there's been so many Lightspeed bundles for my roster that have hit within the last 2 months. I gotta go sit down and redo all my teams now. That's where I'm at. I may do that tonight, but yeah, it's exciting to have full teams back.
How has that impacted your farming plans? Because that's one of the things that I'm always curious about when people all of a sudden get Lightspeed bundles, and they're good value and that's fine and all, but you have plans before this, how are you pivoting from that?
So I was farming Bausch, Skiff, Lando, all the Java requirements, and I had just hit 6 stars on those 2, and I was like,
so this was already a part of your plan.
It was already part of my plan, and then I was farming the requirements, and I was farming Outrider, and that was taking forever. And then I'm like, oh well, now what do I do? Immediately stop farming all that stuff, and then just sort of start over with something else. I'm like, well, I guess it's going to be Kelbeck, and I guess it's going to be Krex, and who else ever. I'm trying to think. Now my whole idea is anything that's 2 years old. I don't know if I should be farming.
Man,
I think there's a lot to be said about that. 2.5 years old, I don't know if you should be farming it because odds are they need to make money and it could show up in a bundle.
Yeah, so I think the key word being there is probably the could, because we know that they're not going in order. The fact that they skipped over Lord Vader and JMK to get to Jabba, but it's on the table. They've made it pretty clear. We got we got Afra and Jabba now, and even Starkiller was close-ish to the 2-year mark. So, yeah, I mean, maybe this is a bigger part of their plan, and it goes beyond just making money, but it really drives people to be going after the content they're doing right now.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where I'm immediately Night Trooper, Peridia, just change my farms entirely. And, the one interesting thing here is, I mentioned it earlier, Executor. Executor's ancient. It is ancient, but, man, it's being used by a lot of people still. And that has not come. So it's interesting to keep it. But we did get the old fleets in Lightspeed bundles with Finalizer and Radis. So it's what is the cadence going to look like for Lightspeed bundles for fleets? They only have so many fleets, right? It's not like Galactic Legends they can crank out. So it's probably
and sorry.
I was just gonna. It's probably a harder argument to do fleets.
And the ground allows them to be pretty creative in a lot of different ways too. I think you mentioned earlier, I think Boba Fett's been packaged into 3 different packs now or something like that. So I'm not sure how many times you can do that over a fleet just because we just naturally have less.
Yeah. Okay. Let's turn it on to the community section here and the fun stuff. We've got community mailbag. This question comes in from Polly Crowell, and he asks, Dear Calvin, is it beneficial for new players to join an alliance early, or should they be urged to grow with the guild until a certain point that they outgrow it so they have a foundation of their playstyle instead of being told how to play?
So my big thing when it comes to changing guilds is I would say that you should probably grow with the guild you're with to get to much to his point, to find your own play style until you find that you're a top 5 or top 10 performer in literally every single thing that happens. If you're the one who's always sitting at the top of the raid and that's it, that's fine. But if you're the one who's always sitting at the top of the raid, you're the one that always has the most attacks in TW, you're the one who is always getting the most combat waves in TB, you probably need to find a guild that matches your play style more because you've kind of outgrown the guild that you're in. So hopefully that's helpful. I would say stick where you are while you can, just because those transitions sometimes can be hard. But man, once you're like maxing out on several different levels, then it might be time to move on to another guild that has more people who are like you doing what you're doing.
What a great answer. Thank you for that, Calvin. It's just funny because I experienced all those things. And then, what I would say on top of that is, like, if you really want to experience guilds and sort of the psychology of it all, run a guild, be an officer in a guild. Oh my gosh, you'll go through a lot of heartache and a lot of pain, but man, you'll come out understanding why people are the way they are. As a reminder, listeners, if you'd like to submit community mail, swing on by the Hall Discord and drop a question in the channel titled Community Mailbag. I'll be selecting my favorite question from that each week, so please do participate. All right, here we are, everybody. The last bit of the show, the last little segment called Maximum Firepower, where we put our guest on the hot seat and test its mental limits. First, I'll give him 5 swgoh or Star Wars topics, and Calvin will respond with one word that best describes it. We're looking for rapid fire here on this one, Calvin. So the first word that comes to mind. Next, we will force our guest to get controversial and finish a sentence that I've started. Lastly, Calvin will have 1 minute to guess a randomly selected character or unit by asking me a series of yes or no questions. And you can't have the game up, so hands in the air. There they are. Has anybody ever told you look like Brandon Flowers?
Dude, I get told that I look like so many people. I've gotten both Star Killer.
Yes, I see it. Sam
Well,
Whitwer?
maybe not as much right now. Yes, Sam Whitwer, and then somebody even said I look like Liam Neeson, which I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Can you go, Anakin? Can you do that?
Anakin.
All right. I'll go with Brandon Flowers and Star Killer. You do look like those guys. All right.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right. Are you ready for
Target, maximum firepower.
All right. One response. Skeleton Crew.
Pirates.
Number 2, Territory Wars.
Lacking.
Number 3, Pedro Pascal's best character.
Game.
Number 4, favorite droid.
Ooh.
Doesn't have to be one word. Just say your favorite droid.
Chopper.
Number 5, worst Sith.
Savage.
Wow. Okay. Here we go. Number 1, you said Skeleton Crew. It was. You said pirates. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy Skeleton Crew? No spoilers.
Yeah, I did. And that's the aspect that I love about it is I feel like someone in production, directing, whatever, someone out there loves pirates and has successfully implemented them into the Star Wars universe. Like I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it does have a very Pirates of the Caribbean, Goonies feel to it. Second episode slapped really hard. First one sort of set up a lot of stuff. Excited to see where they go. Sort of shocked that they didn't put as much marketing into this as they did like Acolyte and other stuff.
Yeah.
It's very much under the radar, and man, oh man, it could be sleepy good. I'm excited for Monday or Tuesday.
Yes,
all right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Number 2, Territory Wars. You said, what'd you say? Uninspired? What'd you say?
Lacking.
As an in-game player and guy that's never taken breaks from the game, what could they change to fix this? What would be the easiest thing they could do to fix it?
I got nothing. It's hard because its biggest challenge is that the border's too small, but nobody has more time. Like the game is set up to have more teams in the game to be able to want to use them. But at the same time, you don't want to have 100 character zones. I think the closest thing they could do to make it better is maybe get a little bit more creative with the landscape, where maybe you have, instead of having 2 zones open at the very beginning, you have 3. Maybe you have fleet first. Like I think they need to experiment to get a little bit more creative with it. The issue is like every time they do that, like a great portion of the community doesn't enjoy it, and then they're not really getting anything out of improving an existing game mode. Like they're not. Yeah, I don't. It's hard.
Yeah, maybe they re-swizzle it so there's more paths to sort of negotiate around instead of just 2 walls, like you said. Maybe there's different choke point areas, and maybe they just do it just something completely different. I don't know how you fix it, honestly.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal's best character. You said assuming Game of Thrones. Is that what you're referring to?
Correct. I knew he was
Oberyn?
going to be. Yes.
I think there's a
Very
lot to pick from here. You've obviously got Mandalorian, and I know this isn't really a pure Star Wars question, but he's also Joel in The Last of Us. I don't know if you watched that one.
I have not seen that. No.
He's fantastic in that as well. What a well-rounded actor. Just a joy. Favorite droid? You said Chopper, the murder droid. Yeah, Chopper's a fun one. Any comments on Chopper?
And I just like him, and I do enjoy that joke that like his kill count is like some obscenely high number because he was responsible for blowing up a ship or something like that.
And the worst Sith, you said Savage. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's at least he's doing something with his super defense. What's it called? It's called resilient defense. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Oh, did you mean in game or did you mean in lore?
Or well, either one. I mean, either one.
Because I was definitely answering as far as lore goes.
Oh yeah. Well, in lore, he was sort of a chump, and he was just like juiced up, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. He was essentially just a guy on Night steroids that Maul was using as he really wasn't. I mean, he was there was no skill, there was no depth. Like when you look at some of these more advanced Sith, like Traya or Revan or even Palpatine, like there's a lot of complicated underworkings there that make them who they are. Savage was an animal,
just some guy. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned like these other Sith, right? Like the layers. I always think of Dooku having the best layers because you can certainly look at the history of Star Wars and be like, Dooku was the smartest guy out there. He knew. And then next one here we're going to is fill in the blank. It's similar to complete the question, but fill in the blank. Okay, blank character had me so excited when they were announced, but it was such a massive disappointment.
I don't think I've been massively disappointed by any character that got announced. I remember, this is going to be really odd, but I remember being really disappointed after working up Eth Koth in the very beginning of the game and then finding out he sucked. Like, I was genuinely disappointed. Like, I had a team, it was like a Boba Fett lead thing, and I was using Eth Koth and Ezra in the team. My Ezra was 2 stars, my Eth Koth was 6, and Ezra was just running circles around Eth. And I'm like, dude, you're on the Jedi Council. Why is this Padawan like dunking on you?
He's a chump in the show. You watch him in Clone Wars when he gets manhandled by Grievous.
Yeah, I mean, he does some things. He's not that bad.
I actually run Eth Koth in my raid team, and I was doing it live on stream the other day, and people were just laughing at me because I was shouting for Eth to do something. So, I do run him. All right, Calvin. 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready?
Yep.
And 3, 2, 1, go.
Are they light side aligned?
Yes.
Are they a Jedi?
No.
Are they Galactic Republic?
No.
Are they Rebel?
No.
Are they Resistance?
No.
Are they Scoundrel?
Yes.
All right, so Scoundrel, are they an attacker?
Yes.
Are they Dash?
No.
Are they a smuggler?
No.
Have they appeared in a Star Wars TV series?
They appeared in a YouTube series, but I don't think that counts. No.
Scoundrel, light side attacker. Scoundrel, light side attacker.
Think factions.
Do they have any more factions besides Scoundrel?
2.
Oh, wow. Are they a mercenary?
No. We're out of
Are
time.
they a bounty hunter?
I gave you a couple extra seconds. We're out of time. They are a bounty hunter, and you have one final guess here.
You have one final guess. They're a light side attacking bounty hunter. There are not that many bounty hunters. This is gonna bug me.
This is a very tough one.
I can only think of 3 light side bounty hunters, and Boosh?
You got it!
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
I know the cartoon series you're talking about.
it's like
appears
yeah,
in.
it's like the kids one. It's like Force of Destiny.
Correct.
And
Yep.
that's when you said like, "Oh, is she in a Star Wars show?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it was Boosh before Leia was like Boosh. She stole Leia. Leia stole Boosh's identity in that show, right? Or was it Leia? I can't even remember.
I think in the series it is Leia.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you to Calvin for joining us. As always, thanks for coming back, man. I really appreciate you. Any plugs you want to get in?
Oh yeah, if you are interested in a lot of the Lightspeed bundles value and then really what to do with them, you can check out my YouTube channel, Calvin Awesome. We have a lot of stuff going on. We currently have a video about what to do with Jabba, and we will soon have a video here of what to do with Afra as well.
Very good, very good. Calvin Awesome on YouTube and Twitch. Also a live streamer, streams his GACs. Do check him out, guys. You can catch me on Twitch 4 times a week with Performance GICs on Friday nights. The ultimate Grand Arena Party. The Hall Alliance is always recruiting, so let us know if you need a guild. You can follow me on X or come slum it in that squiff hole, better known as the Hall Discord. I'm around. You can find me. That wraps this up for this week. Manifesting you all health, happiness, and the most potent drop rates possible. Please do get to your ship safely, and I'll see you out on them holotables. Good night, everyone.
If you enjoyed this episode of Love on the Holotables, be sure to show your support by liking this content and leaving a comment wherever you get your podcasts. Also, consider joining the best Star Wars community at discord.gg/urs or attending a Hall livestream at twitch.tv/urs. Thank you, and remember, the Force will be with you always.